Oh wow. You gotta remind me. I'll tell you about it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day that the Lord has made. We're gonna rejoice and be glad in it. If you're coming on, I want you to hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know Prophet Ramonepreston, the squad, and the Ramonepreston show is live today. I'm so excited. We have a great topic of discussion, and this week is going to be an amazing week because I'm going to be merging some of the most important principles and practices that I have participated in and engaged in just within the last 18 years of being a full-time entrepreneur. And I'm going to be expanding and expounding on that information all week long. I'll tell you a little bit about it in a few moments. If you'll be so kind, please hit the like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody. Shout out to all of my Facebook and YouTube tribe members. Appreciate all of you for your love, your prayers, your support, and for your participation in the Ramonepreston show. I don't even know what episode this is, but we've been plowing for the past 2.5 months now, and probably longer than that. But for whatever the time has been, we've been plowing. We've been doing an amazing job. We get so many great responses, especially on YouTube. I mean, almost every day we get somebody calling, emailing, texting, commenting, and just letting us know how much the content that we're sharing with them, especially the content that is regarding holding companies and business and entrepreneurship, how it's helping them. So shout out to everybody today. Welcome to the Ramonepreston show. As you probably know, if you don't know, I'm your host, Prophet Ramonepreston, and we come to you every Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock noon, high noon, right here from the beautiful Buckhead headquarters. And today we're going to be talking about 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. We were having a conversation a few minutes ago, preparing to launch today's show, and we were talking about how these 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth are styles. These are just behavior patterns. These are characteristics. These are habits and practices that entrepreneurs have to have and have to continue to incorporate in their entrepreneurial journey in order to continue to see growth as entrepreneurs and in order to continue to see growth in their entrepreneurial endeavors. And so today we're going to talk about 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. If you're watching live from Facebook, if you're watching live from YouTube, if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. I appreciate you. This has been an amazing year up to this point. We're in the second quarter now, and we're looking forward to seeing greater manifestations, not just in our lives, but in your life, in your business, in your ministry, in whatever you are endeavoring to do and to succeed in throughout 2021. So thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for hitting the share button. Thank you for your comments, for your feedback. It is definitely appreciated. If you have any questions while we're on the show live, if you have a question about what I'm discussing, or if you have a question about anything regarding financial literacy, anything regarding entrepreneurship, owning a business, starting a holding company, real estate investing, family legacy wealth building, if there's a question that you have, I want you to feel free to ask that question. There are 2 ways you can ask your question. First way is you can dial 678-922-1963 extension 1. You can dial 678-922-1963 extension 1. Again, 678-922-1963 extension 1. If or when you dial that number, it's coming directly to my personal cell phone. I will answer your call, answer your question, and prayerfully we'll give you the best answer that you need in order to succeed in whatever the question is that you're asking. The second way you can ask a question is just drop the question in the comments, especially if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Even if it's a replay, we typically go back and we check our comment sections, we check our chat sections to make sure that we didn't miss any questions. And a lot of times if we do miss a question during the live, we'll always come back. We'll typically answer the question by the comments, and or we'll just come back the next day on the show and we'll revisit that question. So 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. What are the three styles of entrepreneurial growth? I'm over here like tongue twisted. What are the 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you the 3 styles, and then I'm gonna give you a definition for what an entrepreneur is, or what the concept of entrepreneurship is about, and then I'll get into the details of each of these 3. So what are the 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth? Number 1, organizing. That's the first style of entrepreneurial growth, organizing. Number 2, operating. That's the second style of entrepreneurial growth. And number 3, overseeing. That's the third style of entrepreneurial growth. So 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. Every entrepreneur needs to not just know these styles, but practice these styles on a day-to-day basis, especially if they want to grow as an entrepreneur and if they want to grow in their entrepreneurial endeavors. Style number 1 is organizing. Style number 2 is operating. Style number 3 is overseeing, which, by the way, everything that I share with you on the Ramonepreston show, Monday through Friday, I mean literally 99.9% of the information that I share with you on this show is a part of my personal business and financial playbook, which is what we call our blueprint game plan. So if you don't have access to our blueprint game plan program, I would encourage you, at least by the end of the show, to take that into consideration. If you have access to our blueprint game plan, you're already in our ecosystem of education and training, then this information is already at your disposal. It's in our Entrepreneur's Guide to Business course, and you can find all this information in that course. Everything that I teach, I mean literally like 99.9% of the information that I teach when it comes to financial literacy, entrepreneurship, starting a holding company, structuring it, scaling it, when it comes to real estate investing and family legacy wealth building, almost all this information is in my blueprint game plan program. That was my way of creating a virtual platform to provide this type of education and training, particularly to those of us who are in the faith community. We saved, we full of the Holy Ghost, we're very prophetic, and we just don't have access to a lot of this information because a lot of this information is in circles or spheres of influence that we don't really engage with, especially as Christian people. And so I wanted to bring that into the Christian world, the church world. So anyway, I'll get out of that. Let's get into these 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. Again, number 1, the first style is organizing. Number 2, the second style is operating. Number 3, the third style is overseeing. So let's look at what an entrepreneur is. Some of you may not know this, but the concept of an entrepreneur, it actually comes from the French word that we use for enterprise. So prior to this westernized world of the United States of America, there was a word in French that was used for enterprise, which actually described the concept of an entrepreneur. And this word entrepreneur, which is French for enterprise, it actually described someone who not only organized, but who also operated and oversaw businesses. So when you think of an entrepreneur, if you think of yourself as an entrepreneur, if you know people who are entrepreneurs, they are actually individuals who are very enterprising in their mentalities, which means they're always looking to do kind of like what the Star Trek Enterprise did, go where no man has ever gone before. They're always willing to figure out a new way to get to somewhere that other people may have not figured out how to get to. Entrepreneurs are they're not necessarily the most organized individuals, but they're very ambitious. They're very eager. And so if you are an entrepreneur, or perhaps you're just an individual who is trying to figure out if you have the entrepreneurial gene, is there an entrepreneur inside of you? Well, whether you know this or not, if in fact you are an entrepreneur, or if in fact you intend on engaging in some level of entrepreneurship, which means you're trying to start a business, which means you're trying to start a ministry, which means you're trying to launch some idea, some concept, some product, some service, which means you're trying to get out of the rat race of the 9 to 5 and figure out how you could take this side hustle to the next level. All of that is centered around the concept of entrepreneurship. And if it is centered around the concept of entrepreneurship, it has the characteristics, it has the nature, it has the style of enterprising. And because it has the nature, the characteristics, the style of enterprising, it describes someone who has to, if you're going to succeed, who has to understand the process of organizing, operating, and overseeing business systems. Now, why is that important? Because I have never met a thoroughbred entrepreneur who didn't have tons of ideas. Most entrepreneurs that I know, and my personal assistant is sitting right beside me, so you can attest to that. Most entrepreneurs that we consult, most entrepreneurs that we coach, and most entrepreneurs that we even plug into our blueprint game plan have 1,000 ideas. Every 2 weeks they got a new idea, because that's how entrepreneurs are. And it's okay. You don't want to stop having those ideas. But the problem is, when you have all those ideas, if you don't understand how to grow as an entrepreneur with those ideas through things like these styles of entrepreneurial growth, what ends up happening is you going nowhere fast. Yeah. You just everywhere. Every time we talk to you, your mind is in 1,000 places and you don't know how to contextualize it. You don't know how to bring it together. Why don't you know how to contextualize it and bring it together? Because you don't know how to grow as an entrepreneur. So there's a process of growing for an entrepreneur. One of the reasons why I can talk about this with such conviction is because, number one, I have educated myself on this. I have figured out formulas and strategies and systems and styles that have been able to work for me in my growth as an entrepreneur. But also, I started out just as a hustler, as a grinder, as a go-getter, as someone who was just ambitious and eager to just make things happen, because I didn't want to be stuck in the system, and I didn't want to be imprisoned by the world, and I didn't want to live this 9 to 5 rat race lifestyle. But I was stuck in that, not because of a system, not because of some type of big brother that was hovering over me, keeping me down, not because of haters, not because of demons. I was stuck to some extent because I did not know how to grow as a hustler, as a grinder, as a go-getter into a very legitimate entrepreneur. But as I began to educate myself and learn how to grow and contextualize that, in other words, to bring it all together so it can make sense to me, then I began to see that my growth started to pay off in what I was endeavoring to do in both business and ministry. And this is why these 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth are so important. Again, if you got a question, feel free to dial 678-922-1963, extension 1. I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Or you could just drop your question in the comments, and we'll do our best to pick up that question and answer it. So the first style of entrepreneurial growth is organizing. Organizing. This is the first style of entrepreneurial growth. So if you're going to grow as an entrepreneur, you have to adopt this style, this characteristic, this attribute, this habit, this daily practice of what? Of organizing. What do you mean, Prophet Ramone, by organizing? Here's what I mean. Organizing describes your capability. That's the key word. Organizing describes your capability to bring people together, to bring places together, and even to bring things together through your influence and innovation. So as an organizer, you are able to bring the right people, the right places, and the right things together through your influence and through your innovation as an entrepreneur. So in order for you to grow as an entrepreneur, you have to develop the capability to organize. And I'm not talking about organizing from an administrative perspective. I'm talking about organizing from an influence and innovative perspective. In other words, you got to learn how to take your ideas, your products, your services, your ministry, your business, and you've got to break it down in such a practical way that it makes sense. Because if it don't make sense to you, what makes you think it's going to make sense to the people that you're presenting it to? And this is for those of you who are in ministry and business, because I sit down with, like, this is what I do for a living. I consult people. I coach people. I educate and train people. So this ain't something I'm just hypothetically talking about. I have helped thousands of people, literally, with businesses, with ministries, with churches, with nonprofit organizations, with foundations, with products and services across the board. I've been doing this for 18 years. So I've had a lot of people that have come through my path that I have helped and walked through this same process. So that's why I can just talk about it off the top of my head. And I pretty much know a lot of the stuff that I teach, even in my online university, because I teach it all. All of the modules are me standing in front of that camera, teaching it, because I know it so well. So here's my point in bringing that up. A lot of times entrepreneurs have a business idea. A lot of times entrepreneurs have a ministry idea, and then you start going through this process of, I need to get a logo. I need to get my incorporation. We go through the same fundamental steps all the time. I need to find me a domain name. I got to find an office. Or I got to put a mission statement together, because you start Googling and they tell you, you need a mission statement. Here's the thing. 99% of the mission statements that I read that nonprofit entrepreneurs put together makes no sense. Because you can read a mission statement or a vision statement and it doesn't even reflect what you're trying to do. It has no connection to you. You can't even explain your mission. You can't even explain your vision. You know why? Because you do not understand this first style of organization. So organizing as an entrepreneur describes your capability to bring people, places, and things together through influence and innovation. So a lot of times you have to bring the right people, the right places, and things together to some extent in order to test the market, in order to test what you want to provide as a service, in order to test your product. Most entrepreneurs, didn't I just tell you that about 30 minutes ago? Most entrepreneurs never pass this first style of organizing. You know why? Because they get offended. They don't want to bring people together. Because people that they bring together that are there to help their entrepreneurial endeavors have to be honest with them and tell them, your product sucks. Your packaging sucks. It's cheesy. It looks shady. It's cheap. what you're doing is not a demand. You need to find another angle for that. See, I have people in my life that tell me, and I'm not just talking about like random people. I ain't talking about like cuz. I'm finna call cuz and say, cuz, what you think about this idea? Cuz don't know the difference between English and Spanish. So cuz is not the one to answer that question for me. But we was in here Friday. Remember I called my guy and he answered the phone. This is a professional. This is someone who's 30, 40 years in the business, a veteran, who works with multi-million-dollar companies and organizations. But I got that kind of person on speed dial. Number one, I pay that person so that I can have them on speed dial. But as an entrepreneur, I understand I have to organize the right people so that when I want to make a boss move, I can call people and find out if is this a boss move or a dumb move. So this is your style of organizing. It describes your capability. Are you capable? Are you capable of bringing a Prophet Ramone into your world, even if a Prophet Ramone is kind of like your coach, or if I'm a consultant, or if I'm an advisor? Are you capable of bringing somebody like me together? First of all, if you want to bring somebody like me into your world or into your ecosystem, I'm gonna want to see what you're doing. Even with our coaching clients, we send them an initial assessment form. Why? Because I want to know what you're doing. I want to see what you got going on. I want to find out what you think your biggest problem is, what your goals and aspirations are. And a lot of times you can't answer those questions immediately after you read the assessment form. You know why? Because you don't know the answers. So that's why you have to organize people who actually have the answers or who can help you get to those answers. And so if you bring somebody like me on board, now you run the risk of being offended if you are holding on to ideas about your ministry or your business or your idea or your product and service that you have to let go of. So real entrepreneurs, they operate through this style of organizing, which means they have the capability to bring people, places, and things together through influence and innovation. This is a big thing, influence and innovation. So not only do you have the capability of influencing people, but you also have the capability of innovating. That means you're not stuck in one box. You don't mind changing your whole product lineup if it ain't working. You don't mind doing that. I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday and they was telling me about an issue they had with a client. And when they told me about the issue, for them it was a roadblock. For me, it was an opportunity. They saw it as an obstacle. They was like, "Oh, I don't." You know, their first response to it was like, "I don't like how this client is doing me, and they operating shady." And when they told me the situation, I was like, "No, that ain't shady. That's your client. That's your market. They're telling you what they like about your product. So because they broke your product up, that you offered them is a sign that you need to have a different offering." So instead of you getting mad at them for breaking your product up, you look at that as an opportunity to say, oh, this type of client, this type of high ticket client doesn't like to be in a box of my product or my service. They want to have the flexibility. So now I can create a whole new product line or service package that caters to the type of client who want to do it the way they want to do it. You're going to pay for it, but guess what? You can have it your way. You get what I'm saying? If you want your burger cut in half, you know, Burger King, like, have it your way. You can cut it in half. You go somewhere else, they going to say, nah, we don't cut burgers in half. Maybe they don't have to. But if you got to cut your burger in half, you better cut that doggone burger in half. Because I'm trying to sell the burger. I'll cut it in four for your babies if you want me to cut it in four. Matter of fact, for a certain dollar amount, I'll feed it to you. You got to be willing to just keep innovating. That's what innovation is about. Listen to this. As big dreamers, big thinkers, risk takers, you as an entrepreneur are capable of attracting others to join your enterprise. This is where organizing comes in at. Because you got to look at your business or your organization or your nonprofit or whatever it is that you push in as an entrepreneur. You got to look at it as the Star Trek Enterprise. I want to be beamed up and I want everybody to go on a trip with me. Now, a lot of times your ideas might not go nowhere. A lot of times your concepts or products and services might not go nowhere. But if you are a big dreamer, a big thinker, if you are a risk taker, if you are capable of attracting other people, places, and things to join into your enterprise, they're going to help buffer the challenges that you typically face and would typically fail in if you didn't have them in your circle. That's why organizing is the first style of entrepreneurial growth. I think that was good. And it was for free. Here's the second style of entrepreneurial growth. It's operating. So now as an organizer, you know how to bring people, places, and things together, right? You have the capability of using your influence and innovation as a strength to attract other people. Now you have to develop the style of operating. What is operating? Operating describes not your capability, but it describes your competency. That's a different word. To remain a high performer in your area of focus and function while creating and implementing systems for other performers in their area of focus and function. So operating, I'm gonna simplify this, has a lot to do with you staying focused on your core competency. That's what they call it in corporate America. It's a core competency. So there's a certain area that I have to remain focused on. There's a certain area that I got to function in. Gary Keller, the founder of Keller Williams Real Estate, he wrote a book called The One Thing, one of the most powerful, practical books, especially in real estate, that you can read. But my point in bringing that up is he really leans in on this concept of you focusing on your one thing. That's what operating describes. It describes your competency to remain a high performer in your area of focus and function. So that means if I'm extremely good, it's just like me. Okay, let's say let's say if my core competency is to be in front of the camera like I am, to take the concepts that I learn, to take the principles that I develop, to take the systems and the formulas that I come up with and to teach them and to disseminate them and to communicate them while I practice them. If that's my core competency, what do I look like saying, you know what? I just need to get behind the camera because I want the focus to be a certain way. I'm going to let somebody else do my show. Wouldn't that be goofy? You know why? Because I wouldn't be operating in my core competency. So even though I may have an issue with the focus on the camera, like some of these shows y'all come on, I'm working on the background, I'm trying to make sure the screen right. You know, I'm late because I ain't went live yet. If I don't have who I need in place, I'm looking crazy. I'm all over the place. But guess what? I'd rather be that way, still doing what I am competent at doing. I need my, let me see here. Doing what see here, I'm just giving an example. See there? I just gave an example, y'all. I am live on the show giving an example, and I just look at my computer screen in front of me, one of them, and it says, your Mac will sleep soon. So I'm about to lose the whole show being goofy because I am not competent in some of the other things. I am focusing on my core competency. Yeah. So the second style of entrepreneurial growth is operating. That means it describes your competency to remain a high performer in your area of focus and function. And let me tell you something. If you're an entrepreneur and you have established a foundation as an organizer, which means you have developed the capability to bring the right people into your world. That means you might have a coach. That means you might have advisors. That means you might have attorneys and other professionals. That means you may have employees. That means you may have volunteers. That means you may have other people who are good at certain things. That capability of organizing should lead you to the competency of operating, which means you got to let some things go if you want other things to grow. That's a mic drop. Did you catch what I just said? Back that thing up, Prophet. Say it again. I said, as an operating entrepreneur, someone who understands the operating style, you have to be willing to let some things go in order to allow other things to grow. So a lot of times your business or your ministry or your nonprofit or your entrepreneurial endeavors, they don't grow because there are certain things you have not let go. You might not be able to grow in one area because you won't let go in another area. So that means if I have to pay a CPA or an accounting to do my accounting just to be free, so I'm not spending 12 hours a day doing it, then I need to factor the cost of accounting in my books. This is what I've been telling everybody that's been signing up for our coaching program. And you just talked about it today, how it's an investment. You have to invest in your business. You have to have that. So if that means I have to pay a premium just to have somebody on speed dial so that when I have a question, I can call them and get the right answer, it's worth the investment. Most people do not invest that type of money. They don't even factor those types of expenses in their business. All they think about is, my product costs $5, I'm gonna sell it for $15, I'm gonna make a $10 profit. No, you're not. Your profit costs your book, your product, your book, your class, your course, your mug, your t-shirts, or your service. Your service is $100. All right. How much does it cost you to provide that service? How much does it cost you to provide that product? Not just the price or the cost of the product or the service. It's also the price or the costs that are associated to marketing and selling that product or that service. That may mean, as a CEO, there are certain costs that I have. See, I'm a CEO of an organizational enterprise. I have nonprofits and for-profits that I really run on a day-to-day basis. I really do, all right? So that means there are certain executive people that I need in my ecosystem to help me as an executive. There's certain professionals that I need in my ear as an executive. There's certain systems that I need in my life or at my disposal as an executive. This may have nothing to do with my product. This may have little to do with my service. This may not have a lot to do with the marketing or certain operational logistics of my organization. This is just about me as a CEO needing certain things to stay focused, needing certain things to stay competent in what I'm good at doing. So I have to factor those costs in even before I factor in the cost of a website, the cost of a logo, the cost of an office. I mean, how many times do I even talk about this office or the costs associated to it? I don't care about it. I care nothing about how much it costs to be in this office on the 10th floor in Buckhead. So what? If it was 20 floors, I would want to be on the 20th floor, because for me, I just want to be comfortable, because I'm not concerned about certain costs. How much does it cost for me to have professionals that I can call anytime? It doesn't matter what it costs. Tell me your price, and if you have what I need, I'm going to pay you to make sure that when I need you, I can call you. And I sit here a lot of days texting, emailing professionals when I have a question, when I have a concern, when I have a roadblock, when I have an issue. And guess what? I get answers almost immediately from these professionals, from these experts. You know why? Because I pay the price to have them in my life, because I understand as an operating entrepreneur, I have to have the competency to remain a high performer in my areas of focus and function. So that's the second style of entrepreneurial growth. It is good. This is real stuff. This is real stuff. This is real stuff. I'm so proud of the people who really listen to me outside of all the ranting and all the goofing off that I do. And sometimes the shade that I throw, and I could be aggressive. But the truth is, I know what I'm talking about. And I have the results in my own life, and I really want you to have those results in your life. That's just the bottom line. Because what I'm doing is not just what some internet guru is doing. What I'm doing is not just what some social media influencer is doing. This is an apostolic prophetic assignment for me. This is a part of my calling as a prophet to help God's people get to their next level. And spiritually, I have exceeded my expectations doing that. For 21 years, I've exceeded my expectations as a prophet, spiritually helping people get to the next level. I've led thousands of people to the Lord. I've cast out probably millions of demons. I've prophesied to thousands of people. I've laid these hands on thousands of people. So there's no shortage in what I've been able to do in terms of making an impact spiritually. But I want my economic assignment to be just as powerful and potent and impactful as my prophetic or spiritual assignment has been. And so this ain't no game for me. This is real, because I know how bad we as black people, how bad we as Christians, how bad as we as a faith community need it. And I say black people because that's predominantly the group that I cater to and minister to, that have always been attracted to my ministry and to my business. But I'm half white, so I got white family members. My mama white, so there are always white people in my world and my ecosystem that benefit from me. But I also know that there's a plight of a certain demographic of people. There's a plight of a certain type of person. There's a plight, particularly for Christians in this world, that we have to address, and we can't just address it spiritually. We also have to address it economically. That was just a free rant. Here's the third style of entrepreneurial growth. It's overseeing. It's overseeing. Overseeing is the third style of entrepreneurial growth. So that means you have at least tried to execute the first style of organizing, right? That's your capability. The second style is operating. That's your competency, right? Okay, well, overseeing as an entrepreneur, it describes your capacity. That's a different word. Your capacity to maintain a commitment and consistency in moving towards your growth potential. This is really hard. This is really hard. This is most people never do this. Most entrepreneurs never do this. Most people in ministry never do it. I would just give you an example of how I planted our church in 2007. So that was almost 14 years ago. I planted our church. I'll give you a good example. I planted our church in 2007. I grinded out as the leader and did whatever I could do to keep that church moving forward, growing. I've developed systems. And really I had very few resources. I had very few financial resources. I had very few information resources. It's not like we had what we have today in 2007 in terms of how to start churches and how to structure it and how to create systems. A lot of this stuff, I just figured it out. I just kept trying until I figured out what worked for us. Okay? But here's my point. When 2018 came, we're talking about 11 years into me pastoring this church, God started dealing with me about rebranding our church at the time and rebuilding our church from a different perspective. That means changing the name and changing the mission and changing the functionality of it and the operation of it and the culture of it. I didn't know that included me resigning as the senior pastor, but I'm just showing you. But because as an overseer of a business or a ministry, I have the capacity to maintain a commitment and consistency in moving toward my growth potential. I was okay with getting the revelation from God that after you rebrand it, after you represent it, after you repurpose it and repackage it and rename it, and after you move all the debt and make sure that it's debt free and it's in a good solid financial position, you're going to get out of the way. That's a part of my growth potential. But as I just told you earlier, that church wouldn't be where it is today if I wouldn't have resigned and got out the way 2 years ago. You know why? Because I would have hindered its growth because I'm not growing. There was a different assignment. There was a different role. So even though I'm still the CEO of Next Level Ministries, my wife is legally the CEO of Next Level Church. She is legally the senior pastor of Next Level Church. She reserves the legal right to make whatever the decisions are. And her board, her accountability advisory team, her people are the people that follow her. They don't follow me. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I had to be willing, or at least I had to have the capacity for growth potential. I had to have the capacity to remain committed to, I gotta move forward. I gotta grow. So even though I'm not the senior pastor, I still have a role to play as an apostle. I still have certain duties for that organization that oversees Next Level Church, right? But it's in a different capacity. Well, the same thing happened in business. Like my wife and I have had 4 or 5 different businesses that we have birthed. We birthed the Preston team. We birthed Preston Properties. At one point we had Preston Real Estate Enterprises. We had RP Enterprises. These are all businesses that we birthed, all LLCs, all companies that if you Google or go to the Secretary of State search, you could find that these businesses and organizations really existed. But a part of my growth was to step out of the day-to-day operation of some of those businesses and to create a holding company where I was just providing consulting to some of those business operations as opposed to running the day-to-day operations of it. But none of that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't growing. It wouldn't happen. I'll still be stuck trying to do one deal. I'll still be stuck out there like painting walls, fixing toilets, because nobody else can do. Oh, Siobhan, she got another name, Kingdom Maintenance. Me and Siobhan, we had Kingdom Maintenance. And I think we had Tonio and a couple other people working with us as well. That was another business. These were legitimate businesses that we had that were separate. They were all separate because they were all based on me functioning as a day-to-day operator. But I had to move myself out of the day-to-day operations and grow. So what I'm teaching you about holding companies and what I'm teaching you about overseeing these entities, I had to go through the process of figuring it out and learning it because I didn't know. But once I knew it and once I developed the formula for it, I was willing at least. Oh, Siobhan, she's saying can of worms. She talking about some of the contractors we used to have to work with us on some of these properties. So I would still be out there doing those types of deals. But I'm not. I'm in front of a camera teaching and educating people on a show that's free because I have built a enterprise that's actually successful, is continuing to succeed and grow because I'm continuing to move up that ladder and I'm continuing to make sure that I'm constantly organizing. Organizing, that means I am operating my capacity or my capability to bring the right people, places, and things together. I'm continuing to be consistent as an operator, which means I'm maintaining my competency to stay a high performer in the areas of my focus and function. And I'm continuing to be an overseer, which means I'm maintaining my capacity to grow and to be committed to that growth so that I can make other people's lives better. Because if I'm growing, then that means everybody around me got to grow because my organization is going to grow. So those are the 3 styles of entrepreneurial growth. For those of you that enjoyed this show and you know you want more information like this, I want to encourage you to go to Ramonepreston.com I'm getting ready to go there right now while I'm on the phone. Well, I'm talking about on the phone. Am I on the phone? How did I get here? I'm not on the phone with you. If you have a question, call in. This is my favorite day. Monday is really my favorite day. I'm acting like it's Wednesday. Yeah, I'm tripping. So let me go to while I'm still on the show live. Behind me, you'll see the screen. I'm going to Ramonepreston.com. Let's see if I can pull up. There it is right there, Ramonepreston.com. We getting ready to pull it up. And you can see behind me, what side I'm on. You can see behind me. Let me come this way. I might need to come to this side of the camera. All right. So if you would like to have more information about what we just taught today, and you want to learn more information about starting and structuring your own holding company, you want to learn about real estate investing, wealth building for you and for your family, you want to learn about financial literacy, we have our signature blueprint game plans. As you see, Ramonepreston.com on the home page. This is the home of the blueprint game plan. You'll see a few of our signature blueprint game plans. If you click on one of them, any of those that fit your criteria, it's going to bring you to our university training platform. This is Ramone Preston University. It's a very secure site. Kelly on Facebook asking, can you give me the 3 levels again, please? Yes. Drop those 3 levels. You ladies all outdoors. Oh, she does. Okay, Kelly, Prophetess said you have an appointment with us today. You have a coaching session with us today. So she says she'll make sure she give them to you today. So here on our platform, you'll see our blueprint game plans, and you'll also have an opportunity to see all the courses that we have in our blueprint game plan. So this is very, very important if you want to continue learning and educating yourself. While you're on our platform, you'll see we have a link to our consulting group right here. We also have a link to our business coaching program. We just launched our 1-year business coaching program. It is typically a 90-day coaching program that we have in our company. This 90-day coaching program is a $5,000 coaching program that gets real results for a lot of people. Matter of fact, you know what? Last night I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I wish I could. This is what I thought last night. I was like, wow, I wish there was a way that people who have questions about the coaching program, that I could just use the people who are already in our coaching program, people who have been coached as a reference. You know how you put on an application a reference? I'm like, don't listen to me, because sometimes when people give testimonials, you kind of feel like it's just like an infomercial. You don't really believe the testimonials. But if you can actually call somebody and that person can give you an honest answer and honest feedback, I would love that. Because either it works for you or it doesn't. I'm not offended by it, because there are plenty of people who are on our blueprint game plan who use it and it's working for them. But I'm honest with people. We just had, who was that? Saturday? We came in the office Saturday because it was our day off, but we had somebody that was interested in our coaching program, right? So when we talk with them, I told them the same thing that I tell everybody. I said, listen, you can get our blueprint game plan program. They start at $500. We have one for $499, and we have our ultimate one for $999. But I was honest with them, like I'm always honest with people. If you get our blueprint game plan and you're not a self-starter, which means you don't have the habit or the muscle to be able to get on a online training platform, a video-based platform, and learn the things you need to learn, it's not gonna work for you. The people that the blueprint game plan works really well for are people who are self-starters, are people who have the ability to get on there and learn and figure things out while they learn. If that's not you, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people who have gotten our blueprint game plan ended up coming back getting our coaching. Because when they talk to me and I consult them and I coach them in a session, they almost always say the same thing. Oh my God, you helped me so much. Oh, I get it. I understand it. You get it and you understand it because you're listening to me live. You're getting me to give you real live feedback when I'm having a coaching session with you or when I'm consulting you. That's why we did a pilot with the first 40 or 50 people who bought our blueprint game plans last year in 2020. And during that pilot, we added a free business and financial consultation because we wanted to show people that even though you may love to pay less for a virtual training program, but if you need that extra kick, that extra push, that extra pull to get you further quicker so that you can actually have a real business, guess what? You're gonna need a coach. You really do need a coach. I recommend that at some point in your life as an entrepreneur or as a minister, that you hire a real professional business and financial coach. I recommend that you actually hire a consulting firm, but it costs a lot more to have a consulting firm. So I want to encourage you to take a look at our blueprint game plans, see if our blueprint game plans fit any of your business or financial criterias. You can purchase our blueprint game plans online, or you can actually just call in and let us know. We'll be more than happy to direct you to the right one and provide for you a little consultation to help you get an idea of where you can take this education and training for your personal life, for your business life, for your ministry. You can text the word blueprint to 404-478-7213. You could text the word blueprint to 404-478-7213. If you want to be a part of our 1-year coaching program, as I mentioned, if you click on our coaching program right here, you will see that we have a 90-day coaching program. It's a $5,000 program. It's 90 days. What I decided to do with this 1-year coaching program was to give you 4 of our signature 90-day coaching programs for the price of one. And you don't have to pay the $5,000 up front. You could just pay the first payment. We break it up into 12 months. So you are able to pay a fairly reasonable installment every month for 12 months and be a part of a $24,000 coaching program. The reason why it's a $24,000 program because I'm giving you 4 of our 90-day coaching programs, which are $49.99, for the price of one. So that's $20,000. The other $4,000 is in the other bonuses that we're giving you. We're actually giving you access to our blueprint game plan free for the whole year. So you don't even have to buy a separate blueprint game plan. We're actually uploading that to your dashboard when we sign you up and enroll you to our coaching program. And you're also getting $600 worth of vouchers for each of our masterminds. We're gonna have 4 group coaching masterminds in this year. We're having one every quarter. That's outside of the one-on-one sessions. That's outside of the virtual training assignments. That's outside of the coaching calls and the Zoom coaching sessions. These are just group coaching masterminds where we're bringing everyone together in person or Zoom once a quarter, and we're giving you $600 worth of vouchers. So therefore, our masterminds are $99. That's if you don't have a blueprint game plan or you don't have a coaching program. You just want to come to a mastermind. You want to get around other entrepreneurs, other ministers, other CEOs, other bosses, other inventors and innovators, and you want to sit with me for at least 4 hours so that I can give you a business assessment, answer your questions, brain dump a lot of content and information on you, and help you flesh out your business and your finances. It's $99 for our mastermind. But if you are part of our coaching program, every mastermind, we give you a free VIP voucher. So that's $100. But then we're giving you up to 5 free vouchers so that you can actually invite your spouse, your children, or whoever you have on your team. You might have a few volunteers or key people you want to come with you so that they can hear what you're hearing and get on board. We actually have one of our coaching clients who's a part of this program, they brought their whole team on the coaching program with them. They was like, I don't want to just be coached. I want my whole team to be coached. So all of this one young lady's executives that are working with her in her organization, they're all getting coached at the same time. They're all coming to the masterminds. They're all going to be a part of the coaching sessions, the coaching calls. That's what they want to do. They really want to succeed. If you would like to be a part of that one-year coaching program, it's a $24,000 program for $49.99, which includes a free blueprint game plan. It includes $4,000 of vouchers for all, $2,500 of vouchers rather, for all of our masterminds, and you can break that one payment into 12 installments. You don't have to pay it. So basically for $375, what is it? For $416, someone can join the one-year coaching program. Yes. You can actually call today, text today, and for $416, you can join a $24,000 program for a whole year. I'm so eager with this first group of people that we're going to be having sessions with this week. I'm so eager, but I'm so confident about it. I can't wait to see how they get results in the first 30 days. I want to see what we can do in the first 30 days. See if we can help them get that bag. So for those of you that would like to be a part of our coaching program, they can just text coaching. It's all in the comments. You could text coaching to the same number, 404-478-7213. 404-478-7213. This is an amazing opportunity. I'm looking forward to working with so many of you that are already a part of our coaching program. I'm looking forward to hearing the testimonies of those of you that are a part of our blueprint game plan, or maybe you're a part of both. Whatever the case is, we're looking forward to not just doing life with you, but to succeeding with you and celebrating that success with you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you tag Lolly Dolly, everybody, and let them know Prophet Ramonepreston, his squad, and the Ramonepreston Show is live every Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock noon right here from the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. I love y'all, praying for you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow right here on the Ramonepreston Show at 12 o'clock noon.